Good morning, and thanks for joining this presentation on optimizing your retail business with Chrome. I'm Chris McLaughlin, Strategy and Solutions Manager for Chrome and Google Cloud. And over the past couple of years, we've spoken to many retail CIOs and IT and business decision makers to get an understanding of the most critical business and technology problems they're facing. And today, I'd like to talk about what we're seeing in the market in terms of how retailers are confronting those challenges and offer our point of view on what it takes to be successful. I want to focus in particular on the role of the store and how retailers are using technology to empower employees and optimize the customer experience. I'll talk about how Chrome stands apart in its ability to meet these goals while also optimizing IT efficiency, which is an enormous challenge with traditional IT. So to start, let's look at what's happening in this industry that is driving technology buying behavior. Over the past 5 years, the percentage of retail transactions influenced by some digital interaction has multiplied by 10x. That means before someone makes a purchase, they've seen a marketing email or checked out a product on your website or done a bit of competitive research. Now, what's interesting here is that the vast majority of shopping is still happening in the store. So that means that the stores are really still the key asset that most traditional retailers have. It's the asset that separates them from Amazon and other digital-first players. Now, if we look at what's been happening with that asset, the rise of digital has impacted it tremendously. Sales at the nation's department stores averaged $165 a square foot last year, which is a 24% drop since 2006. And over the same period, the stores reduced their physical footprint by 7% in aggregate. Shoppers have changed their behavior. They're less loyal and more informed. They have more options. And if you project the economics of this trend forward, it really represents an existential threat to traditional retailers. They need to fix the in-store experience or be the latest casualty on the pages of the Wall Street Journal. Now, when top retail leaders were surveyed last year, there were 4 opportunities that emerged in terms of how to fix this in-store experience. And these opportunities really clustered around 2 areas: optimizing employee effectiveness and customer experience. So we're talking about things like educating and empowering our in-store employees using technology and giving them the tools to give more personalized attention. On the customer side of things, this is adding self-service customer-facing functionalities like kiosks and just overall focusing on a more convenient customer experience. And these are problems chiefly faced by the store or store operations org typically. Now, if we double click into that first part, employee effectiveness, a big component of this challenge is really just addressing operational challenges. A lot of large retailers have a distributed network of stores that need to keep up with daily or even sometimes hourly updates and marketing campaigns and promotions. And on top of this, you have a constantly rotating workforce that in some cases is impacted by seasonality. So you need fast and efficient methods to get these people trained and up to speed. And these were the top operational challenges for retailers in a recent study. So off the back of that challenge, the data shows that doing some level of training for store associates is really critical to their effectiveness. The more knowledgeable a store associate is, the more sales revenue they generate. And if we think about the stats that we saw on per square foot productivity for stores, this is really critical in a time when store productivity is dropping. So let's talk about the customer experience side of this. Part of what's adding to the urgency of having a well-informed workforce is the fact that customers are more well-informed and they're less patient. Expectations are much higher when you have the world's information at your fingertips. Almost half of in-store shoppers search for information while they're actually in store using their smartphones. You know, these people are comparison shopping. They're looking for recommendations and related products. And perhaps even more shockingly, 90% of customers leave the store when they can't find the right person or the right information. And retailers really have yet to adjust to this. So in order for the store organization to make these adjustments, in order for them to enable employees with technology and create a better experience for customers, This typically involves adding more complexity from an IT perspective, adding multiple device types and patching legacy infrastructure. Effectively, what we're doing is we're fixing a problem faced by the store or store operations organization and creating a problem for the IT organization. And when we look at how this affects IT, the number 3 and 4 budget items for IT are already device management and device deployment. And when you look at these together, they're by far the biggest single item. Aside from budget items, when you step back and ask IT leaders what their key concerns are, what's keeping them up at night, device manageability and dealing with shrinking budgets are near the top of the list. So really what this boils down to is that with traditional IT, retailers are locked in a trade-off. You can't improve the in-store experience without, to some extent, hurting IT efficiency. And this is really where Chrome truly stands alone in its flexibility and efficiency. And here's why. One flexible Chrome device does the job of multiple devices, allowing the store organization to optimize employee effectiveness and customer experience while actually eliminating cost and management complexity for IT instead of doing the opposite. And to make this a little bit more concrete, let's look at a day in the life of a couple different devices in a retail store and see how they can seamlessly pivot between different jobs and users. And we'll start at the top here with a sleek convertible Chromebook. Now, let's say your store associates and managers show up at the store at 8 or 9 a.m. And you start off with that device being in the hands of a store associate. Perhaps they're checking their pay stubs. Perhaps they're doing some training. Perhaps they're reading a communication from headquarters saying, these are the promotions and products that you should focus on today. Now that store associate can log out, hand that device over to their manager, and when the manager logs in, they see a completely different suite of applications accessible to them. That manager can look at a store performance dashboard. That manager can get access an application that allows them to write performance reviews. And that's all manageable through cloud profiles. Through Chrome OS. Now let's say 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rolls around, the store opens. That same device can be flipped into tablet mode and taken out on the floor by the store associate in an assisted selling motion to help customers find the products that they're looking for, perhaps to access their profiles and convert some sales that have been left behind in a digital shopping cart. Now let's say on this day, your store is running a promotion around a private label credit card, or perhaps you're trying to incentivize your customers to sign up for your loyalty program. So you're offering a discount, and you need a way to get all these customers to sign up. So you could take half of the devices that you would have normally had in the back room and set them up in kiosk mode or in public sessions mode so that they can be out on the floor with customers, helping them sign up for these programs. And you can be confident that their private personal information is being protected, because when these devices are in public sessions mode or when they're in kiosk mode, the session is completely ephemeral. None of that data is being stored at the device level or at the user profile level, because there is no user profile. Now, if we step back and look at these different use cases, it would have taken 3 or even 4, perhaps, traditional IT devices to accomplish the same activities that was done by really one device throughout the course of the day. And you can apply the same flexible paradigm to a device that's out on the floor in a digital signage presentation at the beginning of the day. Let's say that is an all-in-one touchscreen Chrome base, or perhaps a Chrome box hooked up to a big display. When a customer comes up and interacts with that device, it becomes an interactive kiosk. And let's say you have a big square footage store. You don't want your employees to have to go all the way to the back room to help customers find inventory or clock in, clock out. You can have that device be in public sessions so that an employee can come over, access an application, sign on with their credentials, and get the information and get access to the applications they need. So same exact paradigm here. One device was able to do the job of multiple devices, and it freed up your store associates to do what it is you want them to do, which is provide great service to your customers. So what's the core value prop of these flexible devices? Again, it really boils down to these three components. IT efficiency. Because one device can do the job of multiple devices, that means a smaller device footprint with higher utilization. And that leads to lower capital expense and fewer devices to manage. And because this is Chrome, it also means drastically simplified management for the devices that are deployed. Really these devices get out of your way and allow IT to focus on more strategic initiatives to drive your business, which is increasingly the charter of IT. Employee effectiveness. We've heard from retailers that employees are pulled away from customers when they have to go to the back room and do a product lookup or make a schedule change. And we've also heard that they're encumbered by this expanding tool belt of devices for these different specific tasks they need to perform. And with flexible Chrome devices, whatever device is nearest to an employee, whether it's one of those convertible devices or a laptop in the back room or perhaps a kiosk up in the front, that device becomes the device they need, and that frees them up to focus their attention on customers. And I'll add here that we're seeing more and more retailers move to a model where you have a flexible bank of devices, multi-purpose devices that can do any of these things. And these devices, of course, have very high utilization, as opposed to having rigid fixed devices that are only applicable to a set number of use cases that only get used part of the time. Finally, customer experience. So Chrome allows retailers to meet and even exceed the expectations of digitally connected customers. Signage can convert to self-service kiosks, and when a customer needs additional assistance, that device can seamlessly transition into an assisted selling mode, right? And that really delivers a layer of value beyond what e-commerce can provide. And that's really a critical component of retailers surviving digital disruption. You can't out-Amazon Amazon. You need to deliver value beyond what pure online players can provide, and that must be delivered through a superior in-store experience. So if we take a step back and we look at, how is it that Chrome can enable retail employee effectiveness and customer experience while improving IT efficiency? It's really because no other platform has these core features. Start with security. Chrome is secure out of the box down to the hardware layer. All of your data is encrypted. Every application is sandboxed, and security updates happen automatically in the background. So there's really no need for antivirus software. You can be confident that switching between users and entering sensitive information, knowing that your data is safe. Chrome is fast. It's fast out of the box, and it's faster over time as the OS is continually optimized. With traditional PCs, shutting down or logging out between users, that can be an incredibly slow and painful experience. Chrome devices boot in less than 10 seconds because there's no legacy bloatware bogging the system down. And we talk about shareability. Chrome is the absolute best shared device platform because of cloud-based profile management. Any Chrome device becomes your Chrome device when you log in. Additionally, Chrome offers public sessions and kiosk modes so that anyone can securely access the web or a lockdown application of your choice. And finally, Chrome is simple to use. When one user logs out and another logs in, all their data and settings and applications are there. And it's also incredibly simple to administer because of the Chrome Management Console. So the Chrome Management Console, which is also referred to as Chrome Device Management, CDM, it's a tool that allows IT professionals to quickly and easily apply policies to their fleet of devices. It's web-based. It can be accessed from any browser. And it really makes management easy because you can simply create and apply policies at the device level, at the user level, both individual and groups, and these can be temporary or they can be permanent. And if there are any issues that need troubleshooting, devices can be remotely accessed, and it also provides health system monitoring per device. So really, this makes OS updates, management a stress-free task. It reduces dedicated resources and time. Updates can be done on a schedule over the course of days or weeks, to preserve network bandwidth and reduce user impact. And we're increasingly hearing that, as more and more connected devices go into stores, this is another balancing act that IT is confronted with. And you can speak with your Chrome sales rep to get more information on the specific policies that you can apply to your fleet of devices. But the last thing I'll say here is that the Chrome device management is really what sets apart a Chrome device purchased for enterprise use for one that's purchased for personal use. The first step of Chrome management is to enroll your Chromebook into what's called enterprise enrollment. And this is a very, very simple process where it's as easy as a simple keystroke and signing into which essentially connects your device to that web-based management console. Once configured to the policies associated with your user, in this case, your retail sales associate, these devices are ready for use. And the one other thing I'll say here is that a lot of times retail customers are thinking about CapEx when they move to Chrome. They think about how inexpensive the devices are. What they realize over time is it's actually OpEx that is the biggest savings. It's being able to roll out devices to a different store incredibly quickly and easily. It's being able to replace devices and provision them with a couple of keystrokes instead of doing a series of truck rolls. And finally, Chrome is really designed to play well with others. And these devices work great with your existing infrastructure. We know that you're not deploying into a complete blank slate store ecosystem. So we've made sure that existing infrastructure such as identity, networking, certificates, expanded VPN support, virtualization management, file storage and printing, all of these things work very, very, very well with Chrome. And one additional thing to note here is that we see a good number of retailers virtualizing certain applications using Citrix and VMware as they're on this migration path to the cloud, with the eventual goal of moving all of their applications to the cloud. Chrome really acts as a bridge to the cloud future as you're on that journey, which we're seeing being a big differentiator for retailers in this era of cloud disruption. That wraps it up for me. Thanks again for joining today. Please feel free to drop your questions in the comments below, and a Googler will respond soon. Thank you very much.